The United States has a past full of tremendous segregation. Women's, blacks, and many other groups have had to fight for equality. In the last few decades, a new group has become the focus of this debate: disabled children. Are we treating them fairly? Are they receiving the best we have to offer to set them up for success? The Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, IDEA, was adopted in 1990 to ensure that children with disabilities receive a free, appropriate education in the least restrictive environment that takes into consideration their specific needs. This is where the debate comes in. What exactly is the least restrictive environment? Some say that this is solely keeping them in the special education department with other disabled students. Others strongly oppose this, saying that mainstreaming into traditional classrooms is best for them. However, both sides agree that the individuality of each child necessitates a specific, tailored solution to his or her needs, and that an appropriate solution doesn't include a blanket solution, because every child is different and everyone faces different things. In order to benefit the majority of special education children, however, they need to be mainstreamed into regular classrooms because they will be challenged academically, will feel more involved with their fellow students, and will experience the type of societal environment they will live in after graduation. The first point I would like to discuss with you guys today is how they will be challenged academically. Due to the tremendous range and severity and disabilities, some students are challenged in the special education department while others are not. They have to go with the pace of their fellow classmates, and some are bored due to the slow pace as others are challenged. Margaret Windsor, an author and professor in Alberta, Canada, discusses what an IEP is. An IEP is an individual education plan that is created by the student, parents, and specialists. It lays out the accommodations, the goals of the student, and the progress of the student in different areas. Pamela Brucker, coordinator of special education programs in Connecticut, discusses the terms of inclusion versus mainstream. Many people believe the terms can be interchanged, however, they are very, very different. Mainstream is when a student is placed into one or more classes that challenges them but will set them up for success. Inclusion is when the child is put into all traditional classrooms and isn't given the opportunity to be in special education department classes. It brings the resources and the tools to the student and challenges them and tries to keep them up. In mainstream classes, the student is required to keep a certain GPA goal and perform academically, whereas in the inclusion, they don't have to keep a specific GPA, they just have to be included in the regular classroom instruction. In mainstream classrooms, however, they will still have the assistive technology. This assists with the teacher in the way that they don't have to simply focus just on the disabled children, but that they can still focus on all the traditional students as well. This also, by mainstreaming, develops speech and expressive skills quicker and at a younger age for these children, because they are surrounded by non-disabled peers who are developing these expressive skills at a normal pace, and they can use these people as role models. And developing these expressive and communicative skills earlier in life typically results in less disruptive behavior in the classroom, which is where many people argue that disabled children should not be included in the classroom because they'll disrupt other students. However, this is proven wrong because with using these as role models, they actually have less disruptive behavior overall. Traditional teachers also have greater access to curriculum, and it's similar to the regular classroom instruction and special education curriculum, except for the fact that special education curriculum is taught, again, at a slower pace. So some label it as less teaching and more babysitting. So if we focus more on mainstreaming, then the school would also have more money to invest into this curriculum that could go both towards the traditional students and the disabled children. My second point is children with disabilities who mainstream into regular classrooms will feel more involved with fellow peers. By being placed in these classrooms, the children have the opportunity to be included in group projects and teamwork activities, which will allow them to spend time with fellow peers. Peer tutoring is a huge thing that is enforced in these mainstream classrooms because not only do the disabled students benefit from it, but the traditional students do as well. They implement cooperation and academics and interaction together. And this teaches the traditional students to focus more on the needs of others and how others do differ, but how teamwork is important. Also, by mainstreaming, this brings in paraprofessionals, which can work with both disabled and traditional students, so it actually benefits both. So, in the long run, they've seen that test scores have improved in traditional students as well because they are getting the extra help as well. And also, children with disabilities through mainstream will be less nervous or hesitant to approach other traditional students due to the daily interaction. Whereas you see sometimes when they're put in a whole separate wing or sometimes even a building, they don't have that daily interaction and then they kind of just work with disabled other students. And they would also have extremely similar opportunities and experiences because the IDA law doesn't just say that it has to be in a least restrictive environment, but it says that other programs and other things must be equal as well, such as meals and recess periods and sports and student organizations, so they'd be a lot more involved in the school. My last point I would like to make is how they will get to experience the societal environment they'll get to live in after they finish school. After graduation, the transition from graduation to the work environment is very hard for a lot of disabled children. However, they have recently implemented in vocational programs, which are programs that help people they can job shadow and they can see the careers and the different skills they need, such as job interviewing and competing with the peers who they will have to compete with regardless after graduation. They won't just be put separate. So it helps them really gain some confidence in what they want to do and has them earn responsibility as they do different jobs sometimes throughout the school. It will also impact the other students in the classroom, like I discussed briefly before, because it will teach them important life lessons as patience and focus and inclusion, which sometimes is just not seen in the classroom as they are focused on themselves. So it really broadens them, and it also teaches the teachers how to teach in different skills and different mindsets, which is very important that they can teach to a variety of kids. And overall, by mainstreaming, it has been reducing the amount of referrals because to the special education department, because kids are finally gaining more confidence and seeing that they can fit in with the included peers and that they aren't different or that they aren't excluded by the society, that society doesn't value them less as people. On the other side of the debate, some hold that children with disabilities should remain strictly in the classrooms because they will distract other students, make the teacher's job harder, and be overwhelmed academically. But with the use of IEPs, they will not be overwhelmed academically, they will be challenged, and it has accurate goals in which they try to meet. It will not make the teacher's job harder because they will have the assistive technology, and they will have the paraprofessionals in there as well. And they will not distract other students. They might, but we never have a working environment that is totally distraction-free. We are always working with distractions with the cell phones or the clocks or anything. So it will actually help set them up for their future as well. So they should be mainstreamed, they will be challenged academically, they'll experience a type of societal environment, and they will feel more involved with their fellow peers. And if action is not taken, then schools will continue to limit disabled students academically and socially, which will greatly affect their futures and who they become. They will continue to feel inadequate compared to their peers and not reach their academic and social potential. As humans, we are all equal and we deserve equal rights. We all struggle in different areas and can be labeled disabled in one area or another. We need to interact with one another, build one another up, and learn from those who are different